Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's awake. There's three things I'd like you to remember by the time I finish this presentation. I'm giving you lots of meat, but there's only three things I'd like you to remember. Number one, learn everything you can about crowdfunding. Okay, at the very end, I'm going to give you the link to Crowdfunding 101. Number two, I'd like all of you to join us at the BC LinkedIn group. It's called BC Crowdfunders for Entrepreneurs and Job Creations. And number three, please leave your business cards, sign up, or check our website called www.healthycrowdfunder.com. So this is our landing page. We're just in the midst of construction. I'm going to play the video here in the next few seconds. But what I'd like you to do is when you're doing your research, click on the Facebook, the Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and the blog. The blog will contain a lot of the information about our philosophy, the kind of market that we're aiming for, and what we're aiming for. Our target audience here are, number one, entrepreneurs, number two, investors, and our healthy consumers, or we call them healthy misers. Oops, didn't work. So anyway, we'll play that later on. So what I'd like to talk about are really the 12 things you must do before you do crowdfunding. So think of running a business like team sports, okay? You have a quarterback if you play football, or in basketball you have the captain role. In business, you have the CEO, the Chief Scientific Officer, the Chief Marketing Officer. Who else?
Sales team?
Sales team, of course, the main team. So it's really important to run it like team sports. So you don't go running playing a game without a team. So you got to come up with a strategic plan. Notice this long winding road. So when you're building your strategy, eventually what's going to happen? Some of your team members might fall off the cliff. So you might as well get used to that. Doing the strategy, that's the time when you can test your team partners, whether everybody identifies into the common goal. This is the most difficult part of running or building a business. And when you're doing your business plan, the most important thing, of course, are your customers. I keep saying to everybody, we're only in business because of our customers. So in business, especially if you want to grow big, you got two kinds of customers. Number one, the people who are consuming your products. Number two, are you investors? Okay, remember that. And the market could be so big, you can't swallow the entire market. You just focus on a particular segment. Focus on your competitive strengths, the strengths of your team players. Look at the biggest pain you're trying to solve. Earlier, when some of the people were pitching, the first thing I was looking for is what kind of solution or what kind of pain were they trying to solve? And I didn't get that right away. That's why I kind of like the red light, to check a red light. That gave me an idea that you're trying to relieve some sort of a pain in business. And look at the biggest segment of the market that your team have the particular relevant core strengths. All right, you always look back to your team. So always aim for the biggest segment of the market where you can make the most money. I keep saying, you spend an hour running a small business when you could spend the same hour running a big business. So that's why the other importance of the team. Once you've done in the business plan, the main emphasis that I have is the marketing plan. Once you get the marketing plan, then you make sure you select the right CFO or the right financial analyst to quantify everything. And when I say quantify, in my business model, as venture capitalists or merchant bankers, we're always looking for a minimum of IRR rate of 30% plus. I'm looking for companies that could graduate by M&A or exit by IPO within 4 years. And I'd like people or the team to work from the bottom up, starting with the numbers, and then recruiting the right team players. Oh yeah, balance. Balance is so important. What happens when the home front or whatever's going on in your personal life could have a major impact in your performance? When you're dealing with your customers, I keep telling my colleagues before, whatever is going on at the home front, leave it there. by the time you meet your customers, by the time you meet your other partners, you got to be in tip-top shape and forget about what's in there. We're here to serve. And how you maintain balance, you just got to make sure that you put just enough time for your business and just enough time for your family and your loved ones. Oh yes, executive coach. Nargis is here, Nargis on the audience. This is why I put this in here. Nargis happens to be an executive coach. Yeah. And your coach could be one of your board of advisors as well. It's quite a lonely position to be a CEO of your own company. It's really important that in one of your advisors, you could find a coach. Number 8, respect other people's money. If you want to grow big, you better be ready to commit to the milestones. And when I'm talking about the milestones, you and your team will have to define your goals and how are they impacting the bottom line. That's really what counts, right? And always remember, I'm not just about the numbers. It's really important. You can make your numbers only if you're serving your customers' needs. That's the key. Okay. And if you're not ready, use an accelerator or incubator. It's a terminology used in the high-tech industry. Incubators tend to manage the entrepreneurs longer period of time, say like 12 months. They tend to put more money onto the team. The accelerator, like PebbleWatch, the CEO of PebbleWatch went to Y Combinator and attended a 3-month boot camp. And the amount of money that the accelerator puts in is not as much as the incubators with. Number 10, practice your pitch all the time. Everything's just have to come up from your heart. And if you can't deliver your message right from the heart, that means you don't really own it. So it's really important that you own the message, you own the solution, and you believe it. And the best way to find that out is when you test market your product or whatever services you're offering. Your best test, of course, is your customers. Number 11, with Healthy Crowdfunder, we try to customize our solutions. Not all businesses are the same. You can be at a different life stage. You could be early stage, advanced. You could be revenue. It's really important when you look for a crowdfunder that they focus on the particular industry that they're in. A couple of people, I guess, in here are 2 are into the health side. So with Healthy Crowdfunder, we're focused on high-tech health and health and wellness ventures. Number 12, this is the last point. So one of the things we'd like to do, one of the objectives of my presentation is we're looking for clients that we could finance. And the 12th point is, what we'd like to do is to give a free assessment to see if you're market ready. A lot of people don't realize the companies that have succeeded in crowdfunding have gone through, say, 30, 60, 90 days of pre-marketing. And this is just a diagram of what we're going to go through. Our investment criteria. Number 1, we're looking for management with the right track record and of the highest integrity. Number 2, early revenue stage companies with an exit goal within 3 to 4 years that could graduate by M&A or IPO. Minimum IRR rate of 30%. Number 3, we don't mind development stage, particularly the team who's had experience exiting. By that I mean by M&A or IPO again. Number 4, we don't mind or we like nonprofit organizations. In fact, there's a couple of, I guess I shouldn't mention that yet. But we like nonprofit organizations that are tied into the health industry that we're trying to finance. Okay, here's my call to action again. I'm giving you the links to Crowdfunding 101. This was originated by Sherwood Neese and Jason Best. These are 2 to 3 guys who had Obama sign the Jobs Act, which is also called the Crowdfunding Act. Number 2, we only have 35 members in British Columbia. I'm not sure how many here are familiar with securities law by raise of hands. 1, 2, not very many, 3. We got a big problem in Canada. We have 10 provinces and a couple of territories who have their own respective SECs. In the US, they have only 1 Securities Exchange Commission. And the reason why lobbying is so important Equity-based crowdfunding could be very, very controversial because there's a potential for investors to be defrauded. And there's also a potential for a lot of problems that the Securities Exchange would like to stop. So in British Columbia, this is your home base. We're looking for people who can help us lobby. And we would like to make the securities rules related to crowdfunding entrepreneur-friendly, and it's also investor-safe. Number 3, please leave your cards if you're interested in crowdfunding, particularly if you're involved in the health wellness or high-tech health. That's it. Questions?
Does this work like Kickstarter?
No, Kickstarter is part of the origins of crowdfunding is donations-based, the film, arts, philanthropy. Ours is very, very vertical. We're focused mainly in, like I said, either development stage or revenue stage companies. And I've indicated it on the previous, on the criteria here.
Do you provide financing and methods, so it's kind of like Y Incubator then, or?
Y Incubator, they're Y Combinators are more like accelerators. We don't have the resources to do that. So our main interest is to really finance. And when we do finance, we'll syndicate it with other companies in crowdfunding. Like we have connections with Australia, ASOL. In the UK, I'm debating between Crowdcube versus Cedars. And of course in the US, there's lots of other crowdfunders that we could partner with. So I treat this just like in the mining industry. Crowdfunding is a global phenomenon. If you have a huge business, particularly in health, it's okay for crowdfunding, and I would rather spend time with whoever's interested in it because there are different kinds of crowdfunding which could take more than what I'm allowed to. Yes?
For the life cycle of a nonprofit organization, would you be looking also for an M&A in that case, or is that a completely different path?
No, thank you, that's a good question. What we're trying to do with crowdfunding, and you'll really appreciate this in the crowdsourcing world, crowdfunding is really a combination of financial and social returns. For example, the Pebble Watch could be a health app. If you imagine that as something to do with, say, heart and stroke, we would go to the Heart and Stroke Foundation and tell them we could do concurrent financing for the Heart and Stroke Health app, plus raise funds for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. That's the only reason. And of course, we will make extra fees on it. Yeah.
Are you looking at any equity in the company?
Sorry?
Are you looking at any equity in the company?
Yes, subject to a number of criteria. Yeah, equity is very, it's really important for people to just pull down the checklist. It's too bad my laptop did not play the, on the first or second slide. When you go to the www.healthycrowdfunder.com, when you go down to the email section, you could pull down the checklist, the 12 points you must consider before you do crowdfunding. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the business model better. So is this your capital that you're putting in, or are you sourcing capital from?
Combination. It's a combination. Yeah.
And you're saying this capital that you source is coming from your...
Right now, with the controversy going on with equity-based crowdfunding, our focus is to access fellow accredited investors, i.e. super angels, angel funds, and some private equity or venture capital group. So we're also in the process of setting up a health fund, for that matter. Once we have the buy-in of our peers, of the accredited investors, that's the only time we will go to the crowd. But because British Columbia, or Canada for that matter, is quite slow, the way I'm going to approach this is kind of negotiate with the BC Securities Commission, Ontario, as well as Alberta. Those are the top 3 provinces that are of substance that can be involved in crowdfunding. So Canada, culturally, is quite slow in adopting. I just came back from Seattle last night, actually, and over there, practically, I attended the Alliance of Angels. Practically everybody's familiar with crowdfunding. And here, there's so much apprehension, so much doubt. I would really highly encourage all British Columbians to be more assertive, because you're going to lose out with the American neighbors. And one thing that Obama has mandated the SEC is that by January or early spring of 2013, the SEC must come out with specific rules for equity-based crowdfunding. So one of the subject, there are 4 kinds: donations, pre-sales or rewards, equity-based, and debt-based crowdfunding. And all of those are adaptable depending on what stage of business is in.
Thank you. Okay,
Last
bye.
question. Do you know what Romney's position on crowdfunding is?
Well, 2 things. Obama approved the Jobs Act, and when Sherwood Neese, Jason Best, and Zach were trying to appeal to the Congress people and the House of Representatives, it was a nonpartisan. So the advantage, I'm not in favor of either, well, sorry, I'm in favor of this election happening soon, because the US, they have a much, much bigger problem than politics. Both of them would favor crowdfunding because it just gives all entrepreneurs who are providing jobs easier access to capital. And as you know, Romney is a private equity guy, and Obama is for socialists, so he likes to accommodate all the entrepreneurs.
Okay, thank you so much, Anton.